Michael, I think we're going to talk about the importance of sleep tonight and how somebody needs to get 8 full hours regardless of their physical condition, because it only makes it worse if they don't. That's my guess. You?
I think we're going to talk about the importance of having a good stiff drink after a hard day.
Those are both great topics. I like them, but because of that, Beth won't pick them. But I'm Mike, he's Dan, and we're in the blind. It's in the blind with Mike and Dan. You could hear Mike kind of going do 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 to the beat.
Oh yeah,
which was
hot
cool.
jamming.
All right, if you're new to the show, welcome. Here's how this goes. We have no idea what we're going to talk about tonight, thus the name In the Blind. Producer Beth has 2 topics for us. We get 20 minutes each topic to debate, discuss, unpack, all that kind of stuff. And then at the end, we have a 5-question true-false lightning round. There's all sorts of fun, so be sure to stick around for that. Bethy, how are we tonight?
Oh, we're good. As good as we can be.
Okay.
Are
you ready for the torture that you're about to inflict upon us?
Well, I'm always ready for that.
You're sadistic. Evil. Bad wife. Bad.
It's evil.
Ready, Mikey?
No, I'm not, but let's do it anyway for the sake of tradition.
I'll carry the show. All right, go.
Okay. Language evolves, it always has. Vocabulary shifts, slang cycles, tones adapt. That's not new. What feels different now is the erosion of structural discipline in professional writing. We're seeing sentence fragments that never resolve, paragraph-length run-ons stitched together with commas, and stream of consciousness pacing in places that are supposed to inform, not journal. This isn't about texting. It's not about casual speech. It's about paid professional communication. In systems like law, structure matters, procedure matters, presentation matters. If someone shows up to court in a graphic t-shirt and says they couldn't afford anything nicer, most people instinctively understand that context and standards still apply. I know you guys have discussed such things on the other show. It's not about wealth. It's about recognizing the environment you're in. So the conversation isn't whether language changes. It's whether professional standards are being quietly lowered and whether speed, platforms, and digital incentives are driving that shift. So the question becomes, when structural discipline fades from professional communication, does credibility fade with it?
Sounds like someone's been reading my emails.
Perhaps.
This is actually a pet peeve of mine, so I figured I'd spin it into a discussion.
No, it's a good.
Do I have to go on about your 2 and 2?
There,
the things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there, and there. Oh, just come on. The basics of language. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody really understands how to speak anymore, or write, or communicate. It's like ugh stuff.
Yeah.
Hulk smash.
Right?
Yeah.
You said, are they quietly lowering standards? There's nothing quiet about this.
It's not quiet.
This is we've talked before. I don't remember if we've done it here in the blind, but we've done it over at TCF. We've discussed the enshittification of the world. This is yet another example of the enshittification of the world. I don't care what news site you pick any of them. I don't care if it's left-leaning, right-leaning, does not matter.
Doesn't matter what country it's from either.
Spend 10 minutes on it, and the quality of the writing, if you have any brain whatsoever, will shock and disappoint.
Mm-hmm.
It's so bad. It's horrible. It's evil. It's wrong.
Well, it is. Now, in fairness, it's been this way for a while. This isn't exactly a new thing.
No.
Look, so newspapers have been written at about a 6th grade level. When I was a kid, they were, that was what I was told anyway. They were written at a 6th grade level, which made sense because even as a kid, I could easily read the newspaper. It wasn't there wasn't a lot of words in there that were difficult to understand. Now, I think the only difference is I think there's more of this sort of, as Dan says, shitification of the whole language in general. Like, for example, irregardless is now a word, which I can't tell you. I know this probably is like a nothing burger to just about everybody out there, but to me, I hear that word and I wince as bad as if I tried to move my bad arm. I mean, it's like, it is, it sucks. I mean, just certain words just bother you, and I know, and look, in most settings, like when I email people, it doesn't matter. I don't speak in completely professional terms. I don't always use the best possible language all the time or whatever. It depends on who I'm corresponding with, and texts obviously are different, but you still try to have some degree of decorum. You still try to have some semblance of decency in how you communicate with people. So I don't know.
Huh.
You can definitely tell. And then when you listen to younger generations talk, and again, I know this sounds like old guy speak, but
well, we're old guys. It's fine.
Well, right. But I mean, it's like everything is bro. I mean, every sentence, bro is like the punctuation to the sentence. Check it out, bro. I went to the mall, bro. And then like, bro, you should have seen it, bro. Like, how many bros can you
here in SoCal?
Yeah.
It's
great.
You were
great, eh?
Yeah, you were halfway to Jim Rome right there.
Halfway to Jim Rome. SoCal. The pimpity box.
I don't even know what to say. It is so bad.
No,
when I was
really
in high
is.
school, it was the Valley Girl thing. Everything
Oh my
was,
God.
oh my God, like
gag me with a spark.
Yeah. So I was like this, and then I was like that. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, irregardless of what we have for dinner tonight, we're going to have to unthaw it first.
Unthaw. Or dethaw. Yes. My grandma.
Dethaw was the Toledo variant. It was unthaw in West Michigan.
Certain things have evolved in our language for the better. Okay. So when I would talk to my grandma, okay, she would say, oh, I went to the store and this nice Oriental lady helped me. Like, Grandma, we don't say Oriental anymore. Well, whatever, So certain terms have changed and we're a little bit more sensitive to certain things. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but I think there's a lot of other words and phrases and just kind of, I go around and I hear 6, 7 everywhere, and I still don't understand what it means.
Nobody
still don't get
Michael.
it, and no one can explain it. And it is definitely a. If there was, I can't even describe. When I try to think about it, when I try to put it into words, my brain blue screens. It just does. It just goes, bloop, there it is. The blue screen of death comes in. It is, if there's one thing that is enigmatic of our current culture, that's it. Oh, sure. When we were kids, we said dumb things or words that didn't make a lot of sense, radical and all that stuff. But I mean, at least that was a real word, and there was a purpose to it. I mean, yeah, it sounded kind of weird, but hey, man, that's radical, bro. Like a cold eat, like whoa. I get it, but just running around saying a number is, and somehow people understand what you're saying, even though they don't. That to me is just Race to the bottom. What are we doing? What's going on? I don't get it.
I've written down 3 different thoughts here, but you talk about a race to the bottom. We're 11 minutes in now. I can swear. Hasn't the fact that the word fuck become noun, verb, adjective, adverb, preposition?
That happened when I was younger, though.
Yeah, well, whenever it happened, but hasn't the fact that this is like the main word everybody uses, hasn't that completed the race to the bottom? I mean, we talk about...
Oh, no, it can get worse.
So is this a shot at me from
no,
before we came on the air?
No, it's not. But
I was definitely using it, I think, as just about all of those, including a period, exclamation point, and question mark. Fuck?
But Adam Sandler did this
Yes,
whole
yes.
piece on this bit where he lists out all of the different ways that you can use that word, and he listed out like every possible way, and then at the end he's like, talking about how this word really shows when you use it properly just how intelligent you are and all this kind of stuff. But it was hilarious. But I think part of the problem is we've lost an ability to truly express ourselves using like real people words. So we default to this BS stuff. And I think some of that, honestly, Michael, traces back to what you were talking about with like the elimination of some words. Like we don't use Oriental anymore. Why? I mean, is it really that offensive? Is it really so bad? We keep saying, well, we can't say this and we can't say that. And we can't do this. And we can't do that. We eliminate so many things. I think it makes communication harder to the point now.
Well, maybe
where it's devolved so much.
Yeah.
We've gone back to hieroglyphics.
Well, yeah,
And
we
grunts.
use emojis for everything.
It's emojis everywhere. And I'm guilty of using it on TCF. I use emojis and titles a lot. And you know why I do it? The algorithm favors it.
Yeah, I will occasionally use a smiley face emoji or something. That's about as far as there are some people when you like, I've seen it in comments. I've seen it all over the place on Twitter and it's mostly emojis. And I always say, I can always tell the intelligence of the person I'm dealing with by the number of emojis, especially the laugh cry emoji. And if they spam it 66 times at the end of a sentence, like somehow they view that as like a burn or something. Oh man, you're going to need aloe after that because I just hit you with the laugh cry emoji. Like, okay, I guess you got me. Sick burn, bro. But no, I don't understand. There's a lot of stuff I guess, but you're right, Dan. I guess the elimination of some words, and I know sometimes it's in the best intention category. Again, the Oriental thing, it's also a different time. And, I don't want to make it a racial thing per se, but this is just one of those things where my grandma, because I always default to the terms my grandma used. She would always refer to people of color as colored. And I would just say, well, Grandma, that's not what we say anymore. But she goes, well, in my day, that's what we said. And it's like, okay, I mean, that's fair. And it's not to chastise. It's just words and culture does change. And that's okay. But yes, I guess eliminating so much stuff, sometimes you just sit there and you want to sort through your brain for the right word to say so that you don't dare offend anybody anymore, because that is obviously the worst thing you can do. You are worse than Mussolini if you say the wrong thing, especially extemporaneously. Oh my God, if you, and you're forever hit with the scarlet letter, it's like, okay, well, I have to search and make sure I say the PC thing. So there's definitely an element of that. And that's why maybe we should just try to lighten up a little bit. But at the same time, there should still be a minimum standard where something like 6'7" doesn't just catch on through the culture for no apparent reason. I mean,
Yeah.
So specifically though,
it's on fleek though, Beth.
So specifically though, in professional communication, do you guys think that the credibility has started to fade along with the communication change?
Without
credibility's been gone for a long time, especially
That's-
with mainstream media. Nobody trusts them anymore. And again, I don't care which side you're looking at. If you're looking at Fox News or CNN,
but is
nobody
that
trusts them.
Partially because of the communication? I mean, you could blame it on a lot of things, right? But I'm just asking what the connect there is specifically,
Well,
since that's our question.
The communication is they're not communicating the way that their job requires them to. They're news people. They're supposed to report the news. So give me the facts of what's going on, the who, what, when, where. That's what they should be communicating. But what they communicate is the why based upon their opinion. And they do it poorly because everything is misspelled, ... There's like no editorial control over anything anymore, probably because the editors don't know how to effing write either.
Probably because they're not employed anymore.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's just, there's certainly no standard. And I think that when you combine that with the fact that they forgot what their job is, and that's to give us the who, what, when, where. Yeah, I think hand in hand, it just totally takes down all credibility. I think that the lack of structure and quality writing is certainly part of it, but it's also the approach to the job. I think they go hand in hand.
So I've got a lot of thoughts on that, Dan. So not that I disagree, but is it chicken and the egg? Because are they doing that because the audience is, let's be candid here, there's a larger education gap that's out there, and they're playing to the larger gap of people, or they're trying to play to the lowest common denominator. And so is the writing getting worse and the reporting getting worse because what people want to see is whatever it is they're doing, or is it they're doing that and it's encouraging people to think less, or is it a little bit of both? Like, what is it exactly?
Well, I think that media definitely plays to the lowest common denominator. We see it not only in the writing, but we see it in music as well, where songs are now written to like a third grade level with less words, everything being repeated over and over again, because it's catchy and people can wrap their brains around it and all this kind of BS. So yeah, I think catering to a lower common denominator is certainly part of it, but I would challenge the validity of that business model long term. Now, I am nowhere near the level of a mainstream media company. But if we look at what we've built in a year over on the other channel, tell me that community isn't thriving, at least in part, because of the fact that I have an ability to communicate sensibly using like big boy words and saying what I mean and not pandering to the lowest common denominator of the audience.
Yeah,
I
would agree with that.
I don't think that that model works long term, and I think it plays out too. I mean, people are revolting against mainstream media in big ways right now. Not only I think because of the message that they're giving on either side of the argument, but also as well in how they communicate. They sound stupid. They just do.
And I on my channel, it's the same deal with the weather. We do more in-depth weather discussion, and I don't talk down to the audience because I know my audience, they're a bunch of weather geeks and nerds, and they are smart folks, and I don't need to talk down to them. And I know that for the most part, they're good folks that understand the messaging, and if they don't, they just ask questions. And I think that's a part of society that we've lost too, is the ability to be somewhat introspective or inquisitive and look for answers. We want to just find the easy answers, and we want to just see it in this blurb, and that's why things get shorter. Look, listen, music there's always been bad music that has terrible lyrics. I mean, Yellow Submarine is maybe one of the worst songs ever. And that's long before, that's 53, 54 years ago that came out, I think, or something. So, but that said, songs are shorter today, and that plays into, part of that is because it's all for the TikTok crowd, because that's where a lot of music kind of stems from now. A lot of musical trends anyway stem from TikTok, sad as that is, and shorts and all this other kind of stuff. We want blurbs, we want shorter things. And so music, which used to be 5-6 minutes, and some songs were much longer than that, even in the 70s and 80s, and you had guitar solos and keyboard solos and drum solos and all sorts of individual expression, because people really wanted to showcase their talent. And now it's all just automated and beats that they buy off of SoundCloud. And it's just a lot of, it's maybe one verse and a refrain and then some and and, yo, 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 and all that stuff. And that's where it ends, and then that's, it's like they have, terrible Song Wizard 3.0 and they just plug and play and that's it. So.
Well, and and oh, just kind of sum up where we're at right there.
Yeah.
Kind of perfectly. Yeah, boy.
Yeah. And again, there's always been bad songs, and there's always been kind of, but I do feel like the quality, though, there's not as much real instrumentation in songs anymore. They're not nearly as long. They're not nearly as expressive. And there's still some good music out there, don't get me wrong, but it's just, there's a flood of bad stuff. And, some of it is because music is easier to make now. Everybody has a computer and access to digital audio workstations and can put it out there on YouTube or any sort of social media, wherever, whenever, however. And, it's now a game of quantity versus quality.
Yeah, I was just about to say, just because you can do something does not mean that you should do something. No. There are just people out there that should not be writing. They should not be presenting. They should not be doing music. Do it as a hobby, but not to be professional at it or make money. I think, as we wrap up this question, I think the biggest problem is that the people who are the pros at writing, they're not really pros. I think there are people in that job that have no business being there. They weren't taught right. They don't have standards for themselves. But isn't that the case with so many things, I suppose? The lack of standards. I don't know. You, Michael?
I agree. I really do. That this is one of those pretty simple agreement.
Yay. I don't know if we answered your question well or not, but we had thoughts on it.
Yeah,
we that one could have definitely gone on longer.
No, we could go on for
that's
hours
its own show. That could be its own channel.
We could have charts and schematics.
Oh my God. Yeah, we could have Ross Perot'd that up pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So if structural discipline is eroding in professional communication, it raises a bigger question in my mind. What happens when the institutions shaping information operate under performance incentives instead of clarity incentives? Writing isn't just drifting inside of a vacuum, it's drifting inside of a system. So for cold topic 2, bridging a little bit, last week we discussed the psychology of mass belief and authority. And that conversation stuck with me, not struck. I guess it can hit me over the head. If belief spreads through repetition and perceived authority, what happens when the institutions that are shaping information begin operating under entertainment incentives? There's a line from the show Lioness that Dan and I recently watched. It captured something interesting. The quote read, "News stopped being news when they started doing it 24 hours a day. It became entertainment." Whether you agree with the statement or not, it raises a serious structural question. When information becomes constant, monetized, and algorithm driven, does journalism remain journalism, or does it inevitably drift into performance? So the discussion becomes, is it even possible to produce continuous news without drifting into commentary?
All right. So,
All right.
so this is just what we were discussing before the show. So we have a big problem in media, and I'll just speak first in the weather space, in the weather community. We have a big problem right now with people that engage in clickbait, engagement farming. It is a huge problem, and it leads to a credibility issue. And the reason that I am so outspoken about it and that I call it out on my channel and on social media is because of that very reason. It damages the entire space. It damages all of us, the people that try to do things the right way. And this isn't just in the weather space, but I speak about it there because that's my area. So we have people that the engagement farming formula, it works like this. If you're in the weather space, what you do is you have your social media page. You go through the models. You find the scariest and most anomalous looking model that looks the most daunting. Even if it's 384 hours in the future, you crop it out. So you take out, the identifying information and you just slap it up on your page. And then you say something, you'll put a caption on like, wow, or oh my God, or this could be really bad, or look out, Alabama, or something like that. And then you just sit back and wait for the clicks and the views and the engagement to roll in. Or you say something like, oh, this, you're always a contrarian. Most these guys don't know what they're talking about, but I do. And then you post, some ridiculous stuff. And the problem is when you do that, and inevitably a lot of that stuff won't happen because it's model output at 15 days out. And of course, inevitably, most of the time it's not going to happen. What happens is then those people will go and run to guys like me or other people in the business that don't do that. And they'll be like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. You always get it wrong. These weather guys, they don't know crap. He said there was going to be a big storm in 2 weeks and it never happened. It was sunny. It was a beautiful day, blah, blah, blah. Or they said it was going to be nice and there was a tornado took my house out. Why didn't they warn us 10 days out? And it's just, this is what happens. And it's media. I mean, in the news business too. Anytime you invite, anytime you have money involved, anytime there's an incentive to get more views and there is confiscatory ad rates and compensation for it, you are going to invite a group of people, not everybody, but a group of people that are going to come in there and try and game the system as much as possible to get as many views as possible. And that is going to create that race to the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say, to kind of start off my side of this, that really it's all about the clicks now. News is nothing more than click farming. And you need only look at how titles on any of your news websites, the article titles are written. They're written to get you to click to get the answer to the question that they're posing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Trump started a war with Iran. It's, you won't believe what Trump started in the Middle East. And then you've got to click to get to what's really going on. So, stuff like that. It's just, in the 24-hour news cycle is probably the biggest issue there. There's not enough news for 24 hours. There just isn't. And if you don't believe that, go to YouTube and pull up any news, any mainstream news channel that broadcasts on YouTube. Now CBS does it, Fox does it through their Fox Now, MSNBC used to. I don't know if MS Now, whatever they are called now, does, but BBC does. And basically every hour, it just recycles the same stuff over and over. There's not enough news, but
is it that
So-
there's
so
not
there
enough
has-
news, or they're just focusing on the things that are going to get clicks and ignoring the actual
well-
important news?
well, that's part of it. There's not enough news to get you to focus on things that will get clicks, so you have to sensationalize.
Right. I was going to say, there is enough news to cover 24 hours worth and more. Sure. But is it
not
stuff
enough good
that,
news?
right. Is it
Not
stuff
enough
that
that
people
bleeds.
are like, yeah, exactly. If it bleeds, it leads. And again,
Yep.
this is not new. Obviously, you know, the if it bleeds, it leads has been a saying for 60 years. You know, that's been around forever. And having sensational story. I mean, yellow journalism is a concept that started in the late 19th century, or right at the start of the 20th century. You know, and this whole celebrity worship and all this other stuff. I mean, that's been around forever too. So it's not a new thing. And profit look, making money in and of itself as a news organization, I'm going to hot take. I don't necessarily think that in and of itself is bad to be able to make money, because making money means you can hire more people to go out and cover more stories and have better technology. And that's fine. But it's going to lead, just like I said a minute ago, in the weather community and with anything, when there is a profit motive, there eventually becomes people that want to maximize. They want to be the rational utility maximizer. They want to make sure that they are squeezing every possible nickel out of it and every bit of time and for money spent, return on investment, and everything else that they possibly can. And unfortunately, what happens is, where it should be information first, entertainment second, it becomes entertainment first, information second, because if fewer people are watching, that means lower confiscatory ad rates, and that means less money coming in. You know, so it's, and yeah, there's a credibility issue when everything is, and look, again, it's chicken and the egg, because I know that people want this stuff. They always say, when I was growing up, there was always this, why don't they have more good news? The problem with the good news thing is they have tried it time and time again. And it has been attempted, and they'll go, oh, let's go to Mrs. Zellner, who has a new garden, and they do the fluff stories. And they have relegated fluff stories on TV news to the morning news shows. They don't do it very often anymore on anything else, because that's the demographic that wants that is generally an older demo that doesn't really buy a lot of stuff in the target, 25 to 54. It's going to be the older folks that just want to see Mrs. Zellner's garden, and they want to see the cooking stuff. And that's right. The puppy stuff, they want the puppies and the kitties and all that. And that's fine. I mean, but people always go, why don't they do more good news? I'd watch that. But the reality is you wouldn't. And that's why they do this stuff. It's just like in the music business. People used to say, why don't they play more indie artists on the radio? Why don't they play more album cuts? Why don't they play more of this? And you know what? Some stations tried that. And for the most part, there is a few exceptions, but for the most part, guess what happened? The ratings tanked, because people want to hear the hits. They want to hear the songs that they know and they can sing along with. And even though ideologues are always like, why don't they do this? Because when they have tried it, it has failed, and it's failed miserably, with a few exceptions. So, that's why the news is the way it is, because people have driven it that way. So it's your fault, America. No, but I mean, it's
well, people have driven it that
to
way.
Agree. Yeah,
people have driven it that way, but there's also a market factor there, and I don't know how to solve for X on this one, but money will always drive everything in the end. So businesses figure out that that the people enjoy things that bleed. So thus, if it bleeds, it leads. And they enjoy hothead anchors. So I don't care if you're talking about Rachel Maddow or Tucker Carlson. They enjoy either side of the hate argument.
Mhm.
So you have that going on. But then you have the shareholders. And you have the boards that are beholden to the shareholders. So the shareholders are like, just make money. I don't care how. So you have that profit motive that's driven through the shareholders that make all of these bad things happen. But again, I don't know how you solve for X, because let's say that you decide that, news has to be government controlled. Well, that ain't gonna work.
Oh no.
That's Soviet, so that's no good. You can claim that it needs to be owned privately, but you need only look at like X and everybody throwing a fit because Elon controls that and he's just one guy, so that doesn't work either.
Right.
I don't know how you solve for, other than perhaps it's just the natural life cycle of things.
Well,
Of
and
a civilization. It gets to a point and then things break down and then it just needs to reset itself.
the
And
privatization of media and the conglomerate, the big mega conglomerates of media companies, that's certainly another topic for another day, but that has definitely hurt media in general. And that has been, it started back in the 70s. It started, kind of under, Nixon, Ford, Reagan, then Clinton really loosened the regulations, and it just kept going. And that definitely hurt media. But I'll tell you, this is just, it's such a complicated topic, right? This is just one of those things that you're right, Dan. There's no easy solve for X. I'll tell you. So I've applied for over 2,000 jobs in media over the years, since the year like 1999. And some of those were talk radio gigs. And my approach was never, I was never a conservative, nor was I ever like a big time liberal. I was always kind of a centrist, for a while, kind of libertarian-ish, but mostly centrist guy. Independent now. So, and as much as people say they want that kind of a voice on media, they don't. And so, they want somebody that's going to be a bloviating conservative or, a left-leaning liberal. And for the most part, talk radio wants a conservative because that's what drives the engagement more. It actually drives the engagement more than left-leaning stuff. It just does. I mean, people either want someone that they can totally agree with, or they want someone that they can totally disagree with and scream and yell at. And these, that's what they want. They want, and that's talk radio. They don't want a guy that kind of gets on there and is like, well, man, I think it's cool if we legalize marijuana. I don't really have a problem with it, but I can also see how people would have an issue, and so, I think it should be left up to the states. That's not salacious.
Oh, that's
you want someone that goes, drugs are awful. They are destroying everything. Or if you have a problem with drugs, you're the problem because they need to be legalized because people need, and you're just a bloviating conservative ass. They want someone that's going to come on there and be fiery and passionate and just one side or the other, black or white. That's just how it is. They want Sean Hannity or Rachel Maddow. They do not want insert centrist here. We had a talk station in Phoenix way, way back in the day. It's still around, but it is not what it was in 1987. KFYI was this station, and they had, in the morning they had a conservative, then they had a liberal, then an independent, and a libertarian, and they had multiple points of view. And for a while, it was a very successful station. But as the bigger companies came in and they wanted to game the system, and they figured out this is how you do it. You put these guys on, and you just have, we want, Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity. We don't want centrist local guy. We don't want that. We don't want independent dude. unless independent dude is going to have, strippers on their show or whatever, then yeah, let's have independent dude. But other than that, unless there's some niche or angle that you can come up with, that's not sensible, rational, reasoned talk was not what they wanted. And the same thing in media. It's whenever there's a headline, it's, U.S. slams Iran. It's like there's always these heavy action words, these big adjectives. It has to be,
Sounds like a
sensationalized.
UFC fight.
Yeah.
That's a battle I fight over on TCF, trying to walk the line, because you've got to throw in some of those words or the algorithm isn't going to care about you.
Exactly. Israel and the U.S. sodomizing Iran. Like, it's like
that one would probably get you limited.
Well, yeah, maybe, but not if it's over there on Fox News or whatever. They'll be like, hey, yeah, let's go for that, because sensationalism sells, man. And again, people sit here like you and I and say it's wrong or it's what's going on. This is what's happened to journalism. But the problem is we are in the minority. Most people don't really care. Or if they do care, they just don't watch, or they don't really notice. They just have it on. It's on at the doctor's office, or it's on in the background, and whatever. Or, as your parents get older, they just sit there and stare at that all day, and then and then they call you up and say, "Did you see? Daniel? Did you see what happened? David, what are you doing?" Inevitably that's what it comes. Mike, I don't believe what's going on here. It's always and it doesn't matter if it's left or right. Dan, it's just that's what winds up happening. So I don't know, man. Again, there's no easy fix. Just like sidebar, we don't solve anything. I don't think there is an easy solution. I would say a time machine would be necessary to solve this and stop the deregulation of media outlets. That would be my fix to it. But that ship's already sailed, unfortunately.
Yeah, but then that would just undo the other threads in the fabric of time, and we'd be under rule of Super Hitler or something like that.
Michael brought up the unless they're hiring strippers. And it instantly, if there's any Family Guy fans out there, do you guys remember the episode where Brian and Stewie took over the radio station?
Oh yeah.
With the cannon that shot hot dogs.
Yeah, I was thinking of that, or just when Lois and Peter started that cookie store, and it was just kind of going slow, too. And so then Peter brought in all the strippers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Strippers and cookies.
And eventually, in the Family Guy one, toward the end of the arc, Gore Vidal walked in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I just thought of a conundrum.
Yeah.
You talked about how, like with KFYI here in town, how it changed because there's like this formula that has to happen and all of that. So, and we see this formula repeated like all over the country. It's the same thing everywhere. But it also, it creates a monopoly in a different way too. It creates a monopoly in the ability to communicate and break into it, because it's harder now to do like anything, because you have to balance being formulaic, but also having an angle. That makes you unique, and that is just that's a difficult needle to thread right there.
Yeah, and you don't want to be
helping things either
too unique to where you turn off the listeners. Now, of course, if we're talking about radio, again, that ship's also sailed because nobody under 45 listens to the radio anymore. That demo is aging, and it's aging quickly. But you have to be very careful what niche you go with and how you go with it too, because, there's a formula and you do want to try and have a fresh angle on that formula, but it's it's a gamble if you try that. Sometimes you just stick with the tried and true fat conservative or,
Don't talk about me like that. Screw you, Michael.
Dan. You'd have to put on quite a bit more weight to fit on the some of those shows, I'm afraid.
Well, this is my angle. I'm only slightly fat.
Oh, okay. So and then I don't know. Yeah, maybe that'll work, Dan. I don't know. Try out for Fox. Try out for whatever.
Hell no.
News Nation.
Nope. No, we're building our own media company here. Thank you very much. And we're going to stick to that. Which, after this discussion makes me think again whether or not I really want to be building this media company.
Yeah, well, but if you do it differently, maybe so. That's the thing. Like, I mean, eventually there is going to be an audience for a more independent or a more rational, reasoned media company. Eventually, and I think it's starting to happen already. That's why YouTube, some of these channels do well. Yeah, but it'll become a big audience eventually as some of the boomers are no longer around.
All right, Beth, we'll evaluate our business choices later.
Yes.
Yes.
What's next?
Well, on that note, I think we should move on to the lightning round.
Okay. All right. So here's how this works, dear audience. It's a true-false round, 5 questions. We have 3 minutes each, during which 3 minutes Beth will read us the question. We debate it, try to figure out if she's telling the truth or if she's lying to us. It can go either way. She's pretty good at lying, although she'll tell you in person, "Oh, I hate liars." She's one of the biggest ones I know.
Well, the show requires it.
Okay. Well, you just, if whatever helps you sleep at night, sweetheart.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that's how this works. It's a lot of fun. Play along in the chat if you like. And are you ready?
Am I ready?
Yes.
I'm ready. Are you
All
ready,
right.
Michael?
I am.
Question 1, go.
A species of deep sea squid can detach glowing portions of its arms to distract predators, and those detached pieces continue moving independently.
Well, hold on. I'm going to hit pause on the timer for a second.
Uh-oh.
Because Lindsay is asking if she lost audio and if everybody else did. Nope. Austin says he has audio. Lindsay, it's on you.
Okay.
Okay, let's start over. Can you reread that question?
I can.
All
you
right.
should restart the timer, though.
Well, I'm going to.
Okay.
All right. But I wanted to make sure that we didn't have some kind of failure because
Yeah.
that's what we do here.
It
We're
is.
so professional.
It's a Monday.
But it's not us. It's you.
It's been Monday
All right.
for like 3 weeks.
I know.
Is it
Well,
not
yeah,
gonna
we
be
talked.
Monday?
We talked about a calendar of just Mondays.
Yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure we're going to do next year. All right, let's try again. Go.
Okay. A species of deep sea squid can detach glowing portions of its arms to distract predators, and those detached pieces continue moving independently.
Squid, you said.
Yes.
I would take that as true.
I just think of the song "Detachable Penis" by King Missile.
All right.
On that note.
So, well, I use music as a reference, and so therefore it has to be true because, if King Missile says it's possible, even though it's not for the same reason, but sometimes you go to a party and stuff just is missing the next morning.
God, I hope not.
Maybe that happens with squid.
Well, I do know that squid do not have a central brain. Squid, jellyfish, they don't have one central controlling mechanism. So it's
Neither does the
plausible.
DMV.
Yeah. Just isn't that the truth? So it is plausible, yeah, that a piece could break off and it would do its own thing. We see that with worms too. Cut a worm in half, it keeps going, at least for a while.
Yeah, I would believe that's true.
I'd have to say true. I would lock in at that. You, Michael?
Yes, I would too.
All right. We're locked in at true.
It's actually false.
Oh, screw you. What do you mean false?
How
Some deep-
dare you?
Some
That's
deep
wrong.
sea creatures can shed glowing body parts to confuse predators. However, there is no known squid that releases detached arm segments that continue moving independently. While species like the vampire squid can shed bioluminescent tissue and release glowing mucus, picture that. That's just pleasant. The detached...
I coughed up some of that the other day.
The detached
It's a Saturday night around here.
does not actively swim away on its own.
You always lead with a true. What's wrong with you?
Well, I have to keep you on your toes.
That's that question.
I
That's
have a broken
bit,
toe still. You
Oh,
can't keep me
well.
on my toes. It's not fair.
That question, I mean, it's kind of, there's a partial truth in there, though.
Well, yeah. Partial
So,
true, but it's not all true.
She's
it's
a
not
liar.
all true.
We know this. All right.
The
Give
pictures
myself
of the
partial
vampire
credit.
squid were interesting while I was looking that one up.
Oh,
The
yeah. You
vampire
know,
squid.
now that we're doing this on Restream, it's easier for us to share pictures. So if you want to bring pictures to the true false round,
Ooh, okay.
keep that in
I
mind for
can do that.
Thursday or Wednesday. Or when are we doing this show
Whenever
again?
the hell we do
Wednesday.
this show again.
Whenever we do this, keep it in
it's-
mind.
It's not Monday. It's the next Monday.
Yeah.
All I know is I'm behind the microphone like 11-5 hours a day now. That's all I know.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
whatever. All right. Next one.
Yes.
Go.
In medieval England, people paid taxes and rent in eels.
In eels?
Eels. Not to be confused with the bioluminescent squid.
Wahoo, you are
eels.
sorely mistaken.
What did
Wahoo
he say?
says Beth is like ivory soap, 99% pure.
Well, my skin color is.
He does not
I'm like
know my wife.
Casper over here.
All right, read the question again. I got distracted.
Got to be paid in eels. That'll be 45
Rent paid in
eels.
In medieval England, people paid taxes and rent in eels.
I could buy that in Japan because eels is good eating, good sushi. Ugh. Ugh. This doesn't feel right to me. What was the date on this?
No date. It just said medieval.
Well, that would
medieval.
be.
Well, it's a time period.
It isn't your rule. It has to be true, then, Michael.
It has to be true.
Okay. Are we locking in it true?
Yes.
Because
it has to be true. It has to be. It's stupid. It's like 16th century or earlier, so therefore it has to be true.
All right, we're at true.
Lindsay said she thinks it's true. It is true, actually. In medieval England, eels were so common and valuable that they were used as a form of payment. Monasteries, landowners, and just even common people sometimes collected thousands of eels annually in taxes and rent. Surviving records show eels were treated as a legitimate economic commodity. Isn't that weird?
Well, animals have been traded before, cows and stuff. You know, you'd trade your daughter for a fatted calf.
That's true, yeah.
So
apparently, back then, eels were abundant in the rivers in England.
Interesting.
Well, if they were abundant, I find it hard to believe that would make them a viable monetary.
Yeah, you still got to catch them.
Instrument.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you still got to get them.
Still got to put into work. I've been out there since 7:30.
I mean, they also have like all those cryptids, you know, that wander through. So you got to watch out for Bigfoot and all those other things. It makes it a dangerous business.
I say, sir, that's 47,000 eel. Yes. Eel. I just can't imagine that. That's your currency. But I mean, you know, again, it's stupid. It's medieval. So of course it's true.
We've gone from eels to gold to fiat currency to crypto. It's a weird world.
Mm-hmm.
And all of it's stupid.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Number 3?
Yes.
Go.
Because the earth formed from the inside out, its core is older than its surface.
Well, I mean, all of it is the same age in terms of universally speaking. All of the material it's kind of a little bit of a trick.
That's a dumb question.
Not a dumb question. I didn't say.
No, it's a dumb
I
question.
didn't say that.
I did for you.
Daniel said that.
No,
but I think the spirit of the question is, since the earth formed from the inside out, then the inside part would be older in terms of relative to earth. Like, for example, so, that's the innermost part of the earth was there first. Therefore, it's the oldest part of the earth, or it's the OG part of earth. So, if we're taking it from that perspective, then yeah, that would be true. But if we're being technical, if we're talking about material wise, like everything in the universe is the same age because it's all this, from the Big Bang. I mean, technically, but I don't know. It's one of those. It could be either one because it depends on how you look at it. But I'll say it's true from the, from the way it's worded. We'll
Lindsay
take it that way.
summed this up. Lindsay says it's not dumb, it's not a question, but it is a trick. You think?
Yes.
Yes. I'm going to go false just so one of us can be right, because I think I'm going to end up arguing with you on this one. But either way.
Ready?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
You guys are going to love this one. Although the Earth's core formed very early in the planet's history, gravity affects the passage of time. According to Einstein's theory of general relativity, which was published in 1916, time moves slightly slower in stronger gravitational fields.
Gravity greater at the core.
Because gravity is stronger at the Earth's center, the core has experienced slightly less time than the surface, making it roughly 2 to 2.5 years younger over the planet's lifetime. So the core of the Earth is actually younger than the rest of the planet.
So I was right.
You were, but you didn't know why. You just said false because.
But listen, I'm actually not going to argue with you on that one. I like the logic of it. Unlike that
Mike
that other monstrosity you brought us the other day that I've already put out of my mind because it was so bad.
The greater infinities.
The infinities. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Infinity plus one.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that I'll buy into that. You, Michael? That one actually makes sense to me. I can science that one.
From a physics standpoint, okay, I guess, but from just
he's not happy about it though.
Yeah, because from a pure, the whole universe is the same age in terms of when the Big Bang happened. All that material is the same, basically. Whatever. You know what? I'm not going to bother. It's like, okay.
You'll think about it tonight when you're laying there trying to get comfortable.
No, from a physics standpoint, I do get it. I mean, yes, time, in a black hole, time almost stops, or, it slows tremendously. But, so I get that. When you go the speed of light, if you went, the speed of light and you tried to come back to Earth, what the amount of time that's passed for you would be much, much different than what's passed on Earth, according to the theory of relativity, blah, blah, blah. I get that. But, okay, whatever.
Well,
bye, Lindsay.
So when you're thinking about this tonight, as you're laying there, just do a gummy first. I think that's the key.
Man, the Earth's core is younger, man. And so, maybe my own core is a little younger. That's what I'll tell my doctor. My heart, you might think I'm old, but my heart, I'm still young at heart, technically, bruh. So yeah, toke.
I don't know. It can be argued. Well, not so much now because I'm losing weight again, but it could have been argued a couple of months ago that I had orbits. So did that age my heart differently?
Peter has also had orbit. Yeah. Back to Family Guy.
I don't know.
They threw a TV in there and it rotated around him.
I was never that bad. You could see specks of dust, though.
Yeah, that's exactly the sound he made, too.
I have rings around me. Yes.
It's great.
Here your ass has its own congressman. Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Number 4?
Number 4, are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go.
In the Middle Ages, a French convent experienced a daily meowing epidemic.
True. I'm going to say it's true because it's from the 14th century and it is dumb.
Well, the question becomes, was it cats?
Well,
I don't think we can assume that. Was it the
all
nuns
the more
next
reason
door?
why it's got to be true.
Was it a spirit? Was it their spirit animals? Was
like
it the Pope
chiropractic
paying a visit?
being created out of a seance?
One of the many popes.
Yes, were there 3 popes at that time or just one?
Oh, come on, Mal.
Meow, this is getting ridiculous.
It is.
As Freya walks by.
Ellie,
are you guys
has
talking
no
meow?
opinion. Ellie, is it true? Did your ancestors meow to a bunch of monks? She has no opinion.
But I would say it's true. Because again, I'm just following my rule. I can't deviate from the rule.
I'm going to deviate from the rule because I don't trust the question. It's too simplistic, which means there's a trick in there. So I'm going to go false. Are we locked in?
Yep.
All right.
It's true.
The rule prevails.
He threw that and it actually got stuck in
Nice.
in my headset. Anyway, historical accounts describe a medieval French convent where nuns reportedly began meowing like cats at fixed times each day. The behavior spread to other convents and was treated as a serious disturbance. Historians today interpret it as an example of mass psychogenetic illness, which is sometimes called social contagion, which most of us probably just know as mass hysteria. It's that whole, we got to change language, make it not offensive thing. Historical accounts say the behavior stopped after physical punishment. That detail tells you less about the nuns and their meowing and more about how unexplained behavior was handled in that area or in that era. So the nuns started meowing and people just beat them until they stopped.
So I was right. It wasn't cats.
Well, they weren't cats.
Yeah, it wasn't cats that were doing the meowing. So I was right about that part.
Yeah.
Sounds like what happens after people listen to Drake.
Yeah. I was going to say demonic possession, but same thing.
Yeah.
Mass hysteria. Yeah. Close.
All right. Interesting.
There's lots of those weird psychogenetic illnesses or whatever you want to call them to be PC from that time. There's a ton of really, really weird ones. But I thought the meowing one was super interesting.
I was gonna say something, but I'm gonna skip it.
Yeah, I don't want to get banned.
Yeah.
I'll save it for later.
Yeah, after show.
Yes.
All right, ready?
Last one.
Last one, go.
In rare cases, a defect in the inner ear can cause someone to hear the sound of their own eyeballs moving.
I'd actually believe that because I know you can hear all sorts of other stuff going on. And I've read about some other weird stuff that you're able to hear. So I'm going to go true on that because I think I want to even say I've read something about that before. I don't know if it was the eyeballs though, but I'm pretty sure I've read something about that. So
it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I'd mentioned earlier today that I could like hear my heartbeat today.
Pulsative tinnitus.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
If you can hear your heartbeat.
I just call it heartbeat hearing. HBH.
I was just trying to help you out.
There's probably a drug for that.
Oh, undoubtedly.
Or Heartbeat City.
Mm-hmm.
There should be a Journey song about that.
Right.
Anyway.
The
Cars
eyeballs
song.
moving or the eyelids? I feel like this could be the trick. That it's not really the eyeballs, but you can hear your eyelids. Which I actually kind of can right now.
Everybody's blinking right now, trying to see if they can hear them.
Uh-huh. But
Yes,
I don't
but
hear my eyeballs.
But are you hearing your eyelids moving, or are you hearing the moisture as it's coming, as your eyes closing and opening? Is it actually the eyelid?
So we hear our tears, is what you're saying, not
No,
our
I'm
eyeballs
just-
at all.
I'm not asking. I'm asking a question. since
Tears for
you're-
hears.
Tears for
Wow.
You took it from eyeballs to eyelids, so I was just asking a question about the eyelids.
Man, I hope I wouldn't be able to hear my eyes moving because I have nystagmus, so my eyes are always moving around.
Oh,
I would
I do
never.
too.
All
I
I,
have terrible.
all I would hear is
nystagmus.
just.
Yeah.
Would just
So
sound
yeah,
like
tell us, Beth, do you hear your
a
eyeballs?
woodpecker.
Well, I'll tell you after the reveal.
It's true though. I say it's true.
I'm gonna go with false. Because I think it's tears for hears. All right, go.
Michael's right again. It's true.
All right.
So there's a rare condition called superior canal dehiscence syndrome, in which a small opening in the bone above the ear allows sound travel through the skull. Internal body sounds can become amplified, including heartbeat, breathing, footsteps, and even your own eye movements.
All right.
Wow.
So it's a genetic
Can
abnormality.
really
that
hear your
causes
body
it.
talking to you there.
Yeah, that would be.
Hey,
so
I'm hungry
unfortunate.
down here. Come on,
Yeah.
man.
I did unrelated but kind of cool and sort of related, talk about hearing. I did read this thing a couple of weeks ago where deaf people if they the ones who have like schizophrenia that like hear voices and stuff,
Mhm.
if they had gotten their deafness later in life, so at one point they will hear voices in their head.
Oh.
If they've been deaf all their life, they will see people signing in their heads.
What?
Yep.
Weird.
Wow.
So there, I brought one to
That's-
you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool, actually.
Yeah.
And I mean,
It is.
it's not cool for those people.
No,
but,
no,
but it's
but
interesting
it's
how
interesting,
it
yeah.
works. Yeah, if the voices in their head are actually people signing, they see hands doing things.
Interesting.
It's crazy.
That's wild. I mean, but it makes sense.
Yeah,
It
the
does.
brain's just processing things it knows. You
Yeah.
know?
Right.
Anyways,
Yeah.
It would be more strange if someone that's been deaf their whole life does hear voices in their head. That would be a little bit
Yeah.
more.
yeah. But apparently, if you had hearing at one point, you will
Right,
hear
of course. Yeah.
those voices. But otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, if they'd never heard voices and then they could in their head, that would kind of lean into that idea of like ancestral DNA, and that would make me super curious.
Yeah.
But you were talking about blinking. The reason I said that is because I'm not gonna try to be super gross here, but if anybody has ever had like a really bad sinus infection, if you get like eye goobers and such, you can hear yourself blink, but it's not the blinking itself. It's because of the eye snot.
Squinchy eye.
Yes.
Yeah.
Squinchy eye.
Yeah. Mhm.
Mhm.
Not to be confused with Sochi eye.
No.
That
oh,
was
no.
Bob Costas.
Yeah. Yes.
All right.
Oh, that will be forever ingrained in my memory.
It will.
Mhm.
All right. You got anything else for us tonight?
Nope.
All right.
I'm tapped out for tonight.
Very good. Are we done, Michael?
I think so. I think we made it. I think we
Okay.
we made it through another episode. This is
Michael
was this
did really
episode
good
number
tonight.
6 or
7.
7.
oh, I did really good today. It's about time. About time I did something right.
Well, you know,
1 out of 7 ain't bad. I wasn't here for one of them.
we'll draw something nice for you and mail it to you and hang it on your fridge as like a reward.
I'm going to put it on the fridge right here next to your TCF guest hosting.
Exactly. All right, friends, this was fun. I hope you guys had fun too out in the audience. Couple things. If you have not already, please do obliterate the like button on your way out the door. We need that to help the algorithm know that this is a show that other people should see. So please do that.
Obliterate it. Smash. Sodomize. Oh, wait.
Don't do that. The algorithm does not like that. I don't know how many times I have to tell you this. Oh, man. ITBshow.com. Go there, please, if you have not already, and sign up for the show notes because Beth emails them out after every show so you can see her research, her questions that will bail us out if we get stuck, all the kind of things that she has in front of her. She just puts it in an email and sends it to you. So do that. And we'll be back Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And you can find both of us tomorrow, me over at TCF and Mike over at the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion, and there's links for that on the channel. Alrighty, folks, take care. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Bye.